Good morning, folks. This is Mike Haley 7 coming to you on August, I think 31st, 30th, 31st, whatever, the last day of August, payday. So, got a topic for you. Fighting. This comes on the heels of my story about my dad threatening the lives of everybody at the school. So I'm gonna do like a parallel story. I'll start out with me and then go to the past with my dad. No, I'll go to the story of my dad and then go to me. How about that? Let's do that. So on my birthday in 1970, my father was working in a tunnel job in Cambridge. They were building the Red Line extension out to I believe it was, actually, I can't remember the name. It's not Ashmont. I think Ashmont's the other way. Anyway, they're going all the way to the other side of Cambridge, and my dad was in the tunnel. Disgusting, horrible work, but he was doing it. And he was separated from my mother, living with his gonna-be wife, Donna. And he knew that my mom was pregnant, and he knew that it was his kid, me. So, he climbs out of the tunnel, goes and finds a payphone, one of them phone booths, those old boxy phone booths back in the 70s, and he calls the hospital because he found out that my mom was in the hospital giving birth. It's like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, broad daylight. So as he's in there on the phone, somebody grabs the back of his head and pushes it into the phone, smashes his head up against the phone. So he turns around, and by this time, somebody has already slashed his back pocket with a knife to get his wallet, but his wallet was always in his upper left-hand breast pocket. So he turns around, and there are 5 guys with knives. 5 of them. Young guys. My father's 34. So he kicks his way out of the phone booth, proceeds to get into a fight with these 5 guys, and let's say 10 to 15 minutes later, these 5 guys are now splayed out on the sidewalk. All of them needed critical condition care. He broke legs, he broke arms, he bit off noses, he bit off ears, he pulled out eyeballs. I mean, he did some major damage to these 5 guys. One guy got a hold of my dad's arm and chewed it, and it was like hamburger meat all the way up his left arm. But he beat them all. The cops came, and they went to arrest my dad, and the fire department across the street, the guys come running out. They said, no, we saw the whole thing. It wasn't him, it was all of them. They attacked him. He was defending himself. When the cops were like, well, what kind of weapon? Well, it wasn't. He is a weapon. People were flying in the air. It was crazy. So my dad says to the fire department guys, he says, hey, why didn't you help me? And they all kind of backed up, and they're like, well, you didn't need any help. We were afraid to help you. We thought you were going to do something to us. He was that insanely crazy violent. But they deserved it. My mom said that after I was born, he came to the house in Winthrop, and they lived on the 2nd floor, and he come walking up the stairs to see me, and she said he looked absolutely horrible. He was bruised from head to toe. His left arm looked like hamburger meat. But, you know, he came out victorious. And he really did do that stuff. That's confirmed. And my dad was an auxiliary cop in Winthrop, so even if he did something less than legal, nothing would have happened to him. Because he was a cop. Anyway. So every year on my birthday, he would always kind of shake his head and say, oh, geez, your birthday. Your birthday. Oh. So then he would recount the story. Sometimes my mother would be there and she'd say, yep, I remember. And his crane operating buddies and whatever, yeah, oh Jesus, he was a holy terror. So let's cut to 1990. No, 1990. 1990. I was in Paris. And I was in love. And I was taking a train home from the Eiffel Tower area to my apartment, and I had to change trains, go from one train to another. So there's like a tunnel walkway thing between the platforms. It's 12:30 at night, And I'm walking along with my broken headphones, where the tape is playing too slowly, even though the batteries are new. Van Halen 5150. Best of both worlds! You know that. So I'm walking along and I see these 5 guys. One of them is really tall. And they look like they're North African, Algerian, Tunisian, that type. Not Arab, but kind of black Arab. And they're taking up the whole width of the hallway, so I figure I'll just insert myself between them and walk on. And I wasn't even thinking anything violent. Well, the big one put his hand on my chest and stopped me. And I looked up and I said, "What?" Next thing you know, they surrounded me and they start pummeling me. My left hand was holding my Walkman. That suddenly felt hot and numb. And my Walkman was gone. And they were trying to get me down on the floor, on the ground. So as I was falling, I intentionally grabbed the head of one of the guys and I pounded it into the ground ahead of me, like BAM! And I knocked him out. Well, now they start kicking me. So I curl up into a fetal position. They kick, 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 kick. They're done. And then they said, "Get up." This is all in French, mind you. So I go to get up, and as I get up, I punch the guy that was lifting me up right in the face. So now the pummeling starts. But now I'm starting to remember some of my, my martial arts training from my dad. So anything that I can see coming at me, I'm blocking this, blocking that, blocking the kicks and this and that. But they're surrounding me, these 4 guys, and they're punching me from behind. So every time I get punched in the back of the head, I turn around, and the big guy, he kept kicking my leg, my left leg really bad. So I thought, all right, I'm starting to remember stuff. Oh yeah, I remember this. I'm going to grab his leg, come down with my elbow on his knee, and break his leg. So I waited for him to kick again. He kicks. I get him the wrong way. He's behind me. And these guys, I'm fending off blows from these other 3. So I just start running down the hallway with him, and he's hopping on one leg. I let go. He didn't try to kick me again, thank God. At one point, they grabbed my head, and they were trying to slam it up against the wall. And then I get, when they're done with that, one guy grabs my shoulders, and he's trying to knee me in the nuts. So I think to myself, I remember this one. I put my hands together, I raised my hands really fast high up in the air, knocked his 2 hands off my shoulders. I turn sideways to my left, and I do a kick with my right foot on his knee. And I hear a crack, and I have never heard a crack like that before. He went down screaming. He did one of them sideways things, like Curly in the Three Stooges, but screaming and in pain. Then I see a flash, and I dodge to the right, and a knife blade goes through my jacket. So now I realize, okay, I'm tired, my left leg is killing me from getting kicked, and they have a knife, and I'm just too tired to keep going. So I go up against the wall, and I pretend I'm exhausted. They come up and they put the knife to my throat, and they said, "Give me your money." So I said, "Really? You want my money?" And so they take my wallet, and I said, "Leave the ID, I need the ID." They rifled through my backpack, and they somehow got the gold chain that was around my neck. They got that off me, I don't even remember when. They throw my wallet back at me, and my shoes that had fallen off of me, and they spit. So I get up again, I'm mad. So they come back to fight me again, and these 2 American tourists are walking down the hallway, and I jump behind them and I said, "Help me, I've been mugged," in French, which they didn't understand. Anyway, they took off. I'm outside now at a cafe, and like 1 million police officers descend on the scene. And they're all asking me if I'm okay as I'm slowly going into shock. And I notice across the street, the guys are walking out of the station. One guy, he's kind of, woozy looking, and the other one, they're carrying him because his leg's broken. So the cops, I said, "That's them," and they run and they get him. They arrested all of them. So they ended up doing 2 years in prison. My wallet, or my money, and my my Walkman and my gold chain were all recovered, but they were put into evidence for the trial, and then the government just never got them back to me in America because I was back in America by then. Oh well. So the first thing my dad said was, "How many did you get? How many did you get, son?" I said, "Dad, I got 2 of them." "You know, I got all 5 on your birthday." Like, "Dad, you were in the Marines." "Well, I trained you up when you was a little kid." "All right, well, I'm sorry, Dad, I only got 2 of them." But he was happy enough that I got 2 of them. So there's a story of my fighting. I don't like to fight. When I have to, I know how to do some serious damage, but I don't want to do it. I just don't want to hurt people. I don't get any joy out of it. Anyway, this is my Kaylee 7 saying, "Ooh, look at that bike." I'll talk to you later.